Dear students, in the sequence of principles of design, now we will study about proportions and scale. Scale refers to the size of an object, a whole, in relationship to another object, another whole. In art, the size relationship between an object and the human body is significant. In experiencing the scale of an artwork, we tend to compare its size to the size of our own bodies. Scale relates to the size of a design in relation to the height and width of the area in which it is placed. Placement of objects determine the size when compared to each other, or in other words, we evaluate the size from the objects surrounded by objects. Proportions and scales: 1. Relates to the actual and relative size and visual weight of the design and its components. 2. Furniture and accessories must be in scale to the room. In the first image, this chair's massive scale diminishes everything around it. In the second image, the chair's light palette accentuates its skinny scale. In the third image, this club chair matches the scale of the sofa. In the first image, center table is overscaled for the sofa. In the second image, table not only looks out of scale, it functions poorly as well. In the third image, the table is substantial enough to anchor the furniture grouping, yet it leaves room for traffic flow around both ends. Scale is very much associated with ergonomics when used in the field of architecture. The space designed for human being is closely related size of body parts and its function. Proportions and scales. Origins of measurements. In ancient times, the body ruled when it came to measuring. The length of a foot, the width of a finger, and the distance of a step were all accepted measurements. Inch. At first, an inch was the width of a man's thumb. In the 14th century, King Edward II of England ruled that 1 inch equaled 3 grains of barley placed end to end lengthwise. Hand. A hand was approximately 5 inches or 5 digits, fingers, across. Today, a hand is 4 inches and is used to measure horses, from the ground to the horse's withers, or shoulder. Span. A span was the length of the hand stretched out, about 9 inches. Foot. In ancient times, the foot was 111.42 inches. Today it is 12 inches, the length of the average man's foot. Yard. A yard was originally the length of man's belt or girdle, as it was called. In the 12th century, King Henry I of England fixed the yard as the distance from his nose to the palm of his outstretched arm. Today it is 36 inches. Cubit. In ancient Egypt, a cubit was the distance from the elbow to the fingertips. Today a cubit is about 18 inches. Proportions and scales. Origins of measurements. Metric. The French originated the meter in the 1790s as 1/10 millionth of a distance from the equator to the North Pole along a meridian through Paris. It is realistically represented by the distance between 2 marks on an iron bar kept in Paris. The word metric comes from the Latin word metricus or from the Greek word metron, both meaning measure. The metric system is based on the meter. This shows the close association between measurement system and nature's creation. In both metric and Armstrong measurement system are derived from proportions of nature and human body. Le Corbusier developed the modular man in the long tradition of Vitruvius. Leonardo da Vinci's Vitruvian Man, the work of Leon Battista Alberti, and other attempts to discover mathematical proportions in the human body and then to use that knowledge to improve both the appearance and function of architecture. The system is based on human measurements, the W-unit, the Fibonacci numbers, and the golden ratio. Le Corbusier described it as a range of harmonious measurements to suit the human scale, universally applicable to architecture and to mechanical things. Proportions and scales analysis. Fibonacci sequence graphical representation. Leonardo Benaxi, also known as Fibonacci, and also known as Leonardo of Pisa, found Fibonacci sequence 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34. Phidias, a Greek sculptor and mathematician, found golden ratio. Kepler derived many geometrical constructions to get golden ratio.